In this lesson, we're going to be exploring the beautiful art of lighting. Lighting is one of the most important factors in any artwork, and I'm going to show you some tips and secrets in getting different lighting styles inside of Midjourney. We're going to run through the difference between cold and warm light and explore some of the options available to you. So let's dive in and look at some of the fundamentals to do with lighting. Now, lighting has a huge impact on how your images are going to look, and it's one thing you can take complete control of inside of Midjourney using your text prompts. One of the things to understand about lighting is warm and cold lighting. Each type of lighting has its own flavor. For example, a match flame is an extremely warm type of light, and something like a candle is slightly less warm. And right at the other end of the spectrum is cold lighting. And cold lighting is moonlight, it's daylight, it's fluorescent lamps, and it gives this colder, harsher feel to images. So that's something to bear in mind when you are specifying what type of lighting you would like inside of your work. Do you want it to be warm and inviting, or do you want it to be cold and harsh? So now let's take a look at a few different examples of different types of lighting inside of Midjourney. This example here is soft lighting. So you can either have hard lighting or soft lighting. Now, a soft light is something that has been diffused and is bouncing off of a lot of different areas, whereas hard lighting is something that has a single point of focus that is penetrating directly onto a surface. So this is soft lighting, and you can see you get nice, even highlights and lowlights, and it gives you this more gentle, almost dreamlike feel. If we contrast that with the hard lighting, harsh lighting, you can see that the highlights and the lowlights are much more diverse. There is a real difference between the highlights and the lowlights. You can see that the cheekbones here are extremely overexposed, and some of the shadows under the chin are very dark indeed. This tends to give the images a more menacing and intimidating look, but it can be great if you're working with that style, perhaps in a horror or a graphic novel. Now, another thing you can do with the lighting is specify the time of the day that you want. This example is using morning light, which gives you quite a warm and soft lighting. You get some really beautiful images out of this time of day. In photography, it's known as the golden hour, where you get this wonderful lighting effect. Many photographers and filmmakers even refuse to film at any other time of day. Now, here is an example of some really cold lighting. To get this effect, I inputted the prompt neon cold lighting. And you can see you get this very stark yet striking image. And one of the things that you can experiment with the neon lighting is inputting the types of colors you want. And then you almost get this restricted monochromatic color palette, which works really well. And you can apply that to all different types of images. Another thing you can do is actually name the type of lighting that you want to use. So in this example, I've used something called volumetric lighting, which essentially means godlike rays are being applied into a scene. It's a 3D technique used by designers. So another lighting effect you might use is incandescent fluorescent. Here are some beautiful fluorescent blobs that I created, and this is something that works really well in Midjourney. And here is an example of using fluorescent lights, and this is pretty much as cold and harsh as you can get with a lighting effect. So there we have it. In this lesson, we explored the basics of lighting effects inside of Midjourney, understanding how to use this important tool to develop your artwork. I encourage you to select one object and see how many different lighting effects you can apply to it.